Morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Before I get on to how I'm feeling, good morning to John Paul Fitzmaurice at Fireward, who has already said hello. Apparently, my ability to say hello to him back on LinkedIn isn't working, but John Paul Fitzmaurice very kindly bought me a coffee this morning, even though he's miles away and I'm miles away from him. Buymeacoffee.com/demolition news. He's been absent from the show for a few days or a few weeks, and he's bought me a cup of coffee. I intend to cash that in a bit later on today, but thanks very much indeed for that, John. It really is very much appreciated. On to how I'm actually feeling. More demop happy with each passing day, to be perfectly honest. After today, should I say, there is just 3 more episodes of the Breakfast Show left to bring you in 2022. Then there's about 2 weeks break before we return, refreshed, recharged, and reinvigorated, and ready to tackle whatever 2023 has to throw at us. As I promised yesterday, we're going to do another prize giveaway today, this being our final week of 2022. That's what's up for grabs. It's from our friends up at MST. I can't tell you what's in it. Come back to that in a second. Ken Hatcher, as many of you will know, won our Liebherr notebook and pen yesterday, and they are now winging their way to Welsh Wales, hopefully in time for Christmas. Today's giveaway, not going to tell you what's in the box, but what I can tell you is it will help with your dating life. Probably not in the way that you think, but it will help with your dating life. All you have to do to be in with a chance to win today's prize is type the letters MST. I'm not going to do it in phonetic speak. I'm going to do it easier still. There you go. Type MST into the chat for your chance to win today's prize. We'll be drawing that a bit later in the show. Incidentally, before we get into the meat of today's show, I'd also like to say a very quick and very massive congratulations to the team over at Kinshofer. It was announced yesterday that Kinshofer in Germany and Prolec in the UK are to merge, and under the terms of that agreement, Kinshofer has acquired 100% of Prolec shares. According to the statement from Kinshofer, the acquisition of Prolec is a significant milestone for Kinshofer in 2 ways. First, it adds smart technology to Kinshofer's product portfolio and enables Kinshofer to develop its own in-house software and hardware systems for its traditional range of products, such as tilt rotators. Secondly, Kinshofer will enter the market of innovative smart technology products to help improve productivity and safety of attachments in conjunction with knuckle boom, cranes, and excavators. With this move, Kinshofer further demonstrates its commitment to being a global leader in attachments to the construction industry. For those of you that know the history of Kinshofer, very acquisitive company. There's been a long line of strategic acquisitions by Kinshofer. Previous purchases have included Liftall from Canada, Demarec from the Netherlands, Augatalk here in the UK and in Australia, and Hammer SRL and Trevi Benny from Italy. I'm hoping to catch up with Kinshofer at ConExpo to find out more, but congratulations to Thomas Friedrich and his team on this latest deal. Now, without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It is Tuesday, the 20th of December, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, we're dozing down under with the mighty Liebherr. Rhodar sets its sights on the Wigan Galleries. A Doosan dozer has been spotted in the wild, and XCMG unveils its first wheeled excavator. Plus, we're looking back at a truly memorable year for us right here on the Breakfast Show. And we will get to all of that in just a second, but first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! Just bear with me 1 second, because I've got a horrible feeling things may have just gone awry. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second, because I'm not entirely sure that our system is picking up the entries for today. Let me just try it again. Oh, it's okay. They were picking up. It just wasn't showing. So where were we? Ah, yes. Oh boy, do I need a break. It's many happy returns to Harvey Firestone, founder of the tyre company that bears his name to this day, and to the creator of both Miami Vice and Law and Order, the unfortunately named Dick Wolf. I'm moving on. Happy birthday also to spoonbender Uri Geller, music producer Alan Parsons, you know, the one with the project, to actress Jenny Agutter. Jenny Agutter, singer Anita Ward, and to the bard of barking himself, Mr. Billy Bragg. To Black Crow singer Chris Robinson, actor Paul Ritter, footballers Ashley Cole, Fitz Hall, and Kylian Mbappe, and to Kasabian bass player Chris Edwards. Many happy returns to them, one and all. Sadly, and I think this one is for those of a certain age, my age. Today we also say goodbye to one of the good ones, Mr. Terry Hall, frontman and singer of the Specials, the Fun Boy 3, and props better, lesser known, the Colourfield. I grew up listening to the Specials and was lucky enough to see them perform. A multiracial band before anyone actually coined the term multiracial. So this Christmas, as Terry Hall famously once sang, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. If there's one thing we like more than a dozer here on the Breakfast Show, it is a Liebherr dozer. And frankly, the bigger the better. So we are delighted to share this one with you.
G'day guys and girls, my name's Jamie and welcome to another Earth Moving Equipment magazine case study. Catching up with Scott. How you going, bud?
Good, yourself?
Good to see you, mate. And we've also got Ian, our operator. How are you?
Good, thanks, Jamie.
Fantastic. So look, Scott, let's start with a little bit of information. What do you want to share with everybody at home about this beautiful Generation 8 dozer?
This is our new PR756 G8 Generation 8. And in its current configuration with the semi-U blade, multi-shank ripper, it's weighing in about 42 tonne.
Beautiful, yeah. Beautiful. And some pretty amazing technologies on board in terms of like traction delivery and power. What can you share with everyone a little bit about that?
Yeah, we run our own engine, which is a Liebherr engine. It's is a 6-cylinder, producing 374 horsepower, which is quite impressive.
Piles of power.
Yeah, exactly. It's we also have, unlike our competitors, we don't run a traditional transmission. We have a hydrostatic drive on ours.
Beautiful.
So there's less wearing parts, moving parts, makes it a lot cheaper to run.
Awesome.
And we're producing probably about 25 litres of diesel per hour.
I was going to say,
really cheap.
In terms of efficiencies, there's some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah, yes, exactly right.
So great for the operator who's sitting in the cab too, right? It's not just the owners of the machine that are seeing those efficiencies, it's also the operators in the cab that are going to be having a good time.
Yeah, the comfort too, because we run on all our machines Grammer air suspension seats.
Yep.
And we do have a large 9-inch LED monitor, which is nice and easy to read and touch.
Beautiful. Well, I'm sure Ian's going to be able to give us some great insights on that in a little bit. So, look, why don't we do this? Why don't we let Ian jump on board? He can fire up the machine and come back, have a chat. We'll put the drone up, get some great footage and see how it went.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
I find this machine to be super comfort. It's got great ergonomics, fully adjustable hand controls. Noise in there is basically negligible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a really quiet machine, comfort, good vision.
Perfect. I even went and had a sit in the chair. The air ride seat, beautiful up and down, and just the controls just felt very naturally placed, really easy to use.
And they're fully adjustable, so if you get someone who's maybe taller than myself, they can adjust them further away.
Awesome.
If they're a little bit shorter than myself, you can bring them in.
Closer.
Yeah, and
excellent.
Great footrests. They're set on a little bit of an angle. They're not straight in line with the straight in front of you, but they're just set on a bit of an angle.
Nice.
And it's got a nice little one there in case you're going down a really steep hill and it's pulling you out of the seat.
Beautiful.
You can actually stick your foot on it and hold yourself in.
So in terms of the actual controls, what did it feel like in terms of like the delivery of power and things like that?
Well, this is the first time I've ever operated a machine this size, which is hydrostatic drive.
Yes.
Right, so the further you push the lever forward, the faster it goes. And there's 3 different speeds on there, so they're fully selectable.
Yep.
So you might have 1 to 5 in first gear, and then that's your variable speed is 1 to 5 kilometres an hour. And then if you go up into the second speed, it'll be 5 to, I think the maximum speed overall is about 11 k's an hour.
So Ian, who do you see this machine being perfect for?
Well, large infrastructure projects, this would be great on quarrying, where they're ripping out rip rock and stuff like that, or sandstone. Yeah, basically any job that requires a machine to move vast amounts of dirt in great volumes.
So ladies and gents, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. And Ian, thank you so much for being our operator today. That's the way. And Scott, look, before we wrap up, was there anything that you wanted to mention, one last little bit about the awesome Generation 8 Liebherr?
I think we just mentioned it before, as how comfortable the machine is and our reduced running costs with service and fuel consumption.
Awesome, beautiful, mate. So thanks again for coming down. Good to see you. And for everybody at home, take fantastic care of each other on site out there. Stay really safe, and we'll catch you soon.
And if you like your dozers just a wee bit smaller, then stick around as we head from Australia to the US in search of a lesser spotted Doosan dozer. That's a bit later in the show. We're at that point of the year when the news flow has slowed to a news trickle, when new contract awards are about as common as rocking horse poo. But Rhodar is still picking up new work, and it has now set its sights on the galleries in Wigan. Yeah, congratulations to the team at Rhodar. I look forward to seeing that job progressing in the new year. Now, don't forget, I think we're up to probably 4 entries so far. If you look along the bottom of the, let me try and do this. Bear with me. It's hard to do this, you know, that way. Type MST into the chat for your chance to win. Got an MST goodie box sat right on my desk. Type MST into the chat and you will be in with a chance of winning that, hopefully this side of Christmas. Now, you might recall that we were among the first to bring you the news that Doosan had thrown its hat into the dozer ring. Well, while there's still no sign of the machines making landfall here in Europe, at least as far as I can tell, those dozers are already finding favour with customers over in North America. And wouldn't you know it, the video has vanished. There it is.
My name is Colt Roderick. I'm the owner of CR Roderick Excavating and Drainage. The majority of our work is subsurface drainage. We do commercial excavating, building lots, and just recently we purchased a DD100 bulldozer. The visibility in the machine is great. The technology and the response for the controls. The machine itself is easy, maneuverable on a job site. Features in the cab, the seat, and the controls. It definitely feels like, to me, it almost being in an excavator. Everything is just right there on both joysticks, very responsive. Just being able to see the blade, you can see, everything basically turning your head side to side. It's not a challenge to see what you're trying to do or what you're trying to achieve. The button for racking the blade, I really like that. That makes the blade shake to where you're not wearing yourself out to get the dirt off the blade. The camera is nice. It does have a good visibility with it, where you don't have to turn around and break your neck all day long. The first job site we used the machine on, we removed 1,250 feet of overburden. That's for us to install a main. It was 12.5 foot deep. To get down to that elevation, we had to use the DX140 to dig the dirt off. And then we used the DD100, of course, to push it back on, and did it in about a day and a half less than what I had figured. So I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get up close and personal with one of those, assuming they're on the stand at Las Vegas when March rolls around. Speaking of exhibitions, you know the score by now. We're heading for Bavaria, the Messermunchen Exhibition Centre in Munich, to be precise. If you were here yesterday, you will know that we brought you the news of Case about to badge Hyundai wheeled excavators, together with details of a new rubber duck from Hitachi. Well, the wheeled excavators, they just keep on coming.
Okay, this is our the first wheel loader, wheel excavator model, and this is also equipped with Cummins engine, and you see it's designed for the European market, and it's with two-piece boom, and it's also with two auxiliary pipeline and the quick couplings, hydraulic couplings.
Yeah, I have to admit, the language barrier on the XCMG stand was a little bit tricky. It's taken an awful long while to get those edited down. But having said all that aside, having seen that wheeled excavator up close and in the eye, I'd have to say, well worth a closer look.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
I was planning to film the following bit while out and about, just to break things up a little bit, but the weather conspired against me. And so, with time running out in 2022, I just wanted to look back at some of the highlights of the past year. Now, fingers crossed this is going to work. If not, I'll have to reboot it and try it again. But here is what I'm trying to do. 2022 is almost at an end. So before we begin to look at the new year, I thought it might be worth taking a look back at the old one just one last time. And it really was quite a year. We got to visit Hillhead and Balmer. I headed off to Sweden and Germany, both times with Volvo. I saw the first hydrogen combustion engine. During the course of the year, we worked with major global brands including Bobcat, Case, Hyundai, JCB, Liebherr, Volvo and XCMG. So to all those that question our decision to go all in on video nearly 3 years ago, I'll just say this. Where were you when we were working directly with those brands? We also hosted not one but 2 world premiere shows with Caterpillar, the world's largest manufacturer of construction equipment. We broadcast 220 episodes of the Breakfast Show together with a number of weekend and evening shows. Having started the year with 120,000 followers, we saw our Instagram following top 150,000. Even more remarkably, our YouTube channel grew from just over 2,000 subscribers in January to an astonishing 24,000 and growing today. All things being equal, we should probably top the 25,000 subscriber mark just before Christmas Day. But it's not all about numbers. Along the way, we've shone a light on important and ongoing issues impacting the industry. Mental health and suicide within the sector, the gender imbalance across the construction industry, the glacial progress of the investigation into the death of 4 demolition workers at the Didcot A power station, and we unpacked the ongoing Companies and Markets Authority investigation into bid rigging within the UK demolition sector with a dedicated podcast series. We questioned authority, we railed against injustice, and we held up a mirror to the industry and all its accomplishments and its imperfections. It hasn't all been positive, however. Although we were delighted to attract a number of paying patrons, this has rather stagnated over the past few months. We sold fewer books and less merch this year too, but that's purely because we haven't had the time to focus on them. We'll put that right next year. Also coming in the new year will be a couple of new video and audio podcast shows. You've already had a glimpse of the first of these, Tech Foresights, which looks ahead at the technology that is shaping the industry today and into the future. We're currently working on another, this time on the issue of embodied carbon and its threat to demolition workloads. The first episode of that will land early in the new year. Now, I said earlier that it's not all about numbers. I stand by that. But there is one number that's sadly reduced, but in doing so, showed just what we've created here. This time last year, both my parents were alive. I will be celebrating Christmas this year having lost both of them during the past 12 months. My mother in January and my father in September. I mention this not to attract a vote of sympathy, but to highlight the importance of the community that now exists around the Breakfast Show. In October, I was sat in the rear of a hearse with my family on my way to a funeral chapel to say goodbye to my dad. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message of condolence and support from one of our regular viewers. I have to say the timing was perfect and the message was pretty much exactly what I needed at that time. But then I had another, and then another, and then another. I've spent 33 years writing words to cast before faceless individuals. I've spent the past 2.5 years speaking to a growing band of people that are now no longer viewers, but genuine friends. Now, I'd be lying if I said that losing both my parents was easy and that 2022 was a bed of roses. But the ability to hang out with my mates each weekday morning certainly helped make things easier. I can't tell you how grateful I am for that. So, with all that being said, I'll soon be turning my attention to 2023. We're a couple of months away from broadcasting our 500th show, which will almost certainly mean a rebranding. We're also just a couple of months away from our trip to Las Vegas for ConExpo 2023. This show, or at least its forerunner, was created on my return from ConExpo 2020. Who knows what ConExpo 2023 might inspire? In fact, come to think of it, who knows what 2023 has in store for any of us? We live in an age of uncertainty, but what I can tell you is that I'll be here. The Breakfast Show will be here. And I sincerely hope you'll be here with us. Okay. Just realised that the sound was off, so I'm not going to do all of that again. But Gary Muirhead just won the MST goodie box. Congratulations, Gary, and many thanks indeed for to MST for actually supplying the goodie box. No idea. There is a system here where I'm playing a video in one way, switches off the mic. If I'm playing it in another way, it doesn't switch off the mic. This time, it decided it was going to switch off the mic. So, congratulations, Gary. Thank you, MST. Be back tomorrow. We've got another couple of books, actually. We've got, I'm not sure what order I'm going to do them in, but we've got a copy of my book, Demolition 2051. Also got a copy of my book, Renaissance, Why JCB is the Apple of the Digger World. Both of those are up for grabs. We'll do one tomorrow, one on Thursday. And then, Lord alone knows, I'll probably have to find something else to give away for Friday before we wrap this whole thing up for the end of the year. But until then, I think we need one of these.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping Gazelle like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe and look after yourself, your family, your friends and your colleagues. Have a great day and thanks for watching. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I'll see you on the other side of this. But before I go, congratulations to Gary Muirhead. Thank you very much indeed to John Fitzmaurice for the cup of coffee. Sad news about Terry Hall. Look after yourselves. I'll see you immediately after this. It's unbelievable, isn't it? How are we all doing this morning? You have to say, very, very sad news overnight about Terry Hall. I am a man of a certain age. When the special was first landed, well, certainly in my stream of consciousness back in 1979, I was 14 years old. They arrived at just the right time. Bizarrely, never much of a fan of the song Ghost Town, which is the one they're most normally associated with. But things like Gangsters and Too Much Too Young, A Message to You, Rudy, and just so many great songs. Too Much Too Young was a personal favourite of mine, and Enjoy Yourself. Sad day indeed. John Paul Fitzmaurice, many thanks indeed for the coffee this morning, John. I am going to create a graphic over the Christmas New Year period that reminds people that you are able to do that. BuyMeACoffee.com is basically a system. I'm just going to turn that music down. It sounds a bit loud to me. Hope that's a bit better. Yeah, BuyMeACoffee.com is basically a system that allows creators, for that is what I am, to receive tips from their audience, basically, and you know you can have it set to anything. I should probably have mine set to a cup of tea, to be perfectly honest, because that's my beverage of choice. But it is called Buy Me a Coffee, so Buy Me a Coffee seems like the perfect way forward. We've had a bunch of contributions both here and over on Instagram over the past 12 months, but I don't talk about it enough. So I think if I can have a graphic that I can throw up on one side of the screen that just reminds that you can, you know, if you see an episode that you particularly enjoy, or if you just feeling generous, or you just come into some money and you'd like to send some our way, buymeacoffee.com/demolition news. My question of the day, did I do the question of the day? I'm fairly sure I did. Doesn't look like it came through. In that case, I'll save it for tomorrow. Good morning, says Ken Hatcher, who has got a bit of cold and a bit of sunshine. It actually feels quite warm here today, and I think it's only because it's been so bloody cold for the last week or so. But today, yeah, I came downstairs, not chilly at all, and I'm down to one layer again, which is quite nice. Gary Muirhead, good morning, Mark. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Gary. And your goodie box from MST will be winging its way to you in the next couple of hours. I'm going to do it early this morning. Well, I say early, not exactly early, but I'm going to do it this morning because I've got some audio to record first and foremost, and then about I think it's 2 o'clock, I'm doing an interview which we'll be bringing you early in the new year. Thankfully, because the things have slowed down somewhat, I am actually starting to get a bit ahead for the new year, and we've got some new content. We've already got a JCB interview with Tim Burnhope talking all things electrification and hydrogen, which will be arriving with our patrons later today. That's patreon.com/demolition news. They will get to see that later today, while the rest of the world will get to see that early in the new year. We've also got the first episode of another new podcast coming out my ears here, which is Demolition's Biggest Threat, which is all about the embodied carbon lobby. We're working on that in the background. That's part of the audio recording that I need to do later today, or later this morning. That will be out early in the new year as well. So hopefully we should be hitting the ground running come January. I'll be back here on the 6th of January. I'm not entirely sure what the hell I'm going to talk about. I'm not entirely sure I've got enough new stuff to talk about to take us all the way up to Friday. And I'm not expecting much in the way of news out of the major manufacturers over the Christmas period, but maybe we'll just turn up and have a chat. We'll see how it all pans out. Nick Drew is in the house. Morning, Nick. Thank you for being here. Hope you're fit and well down in Diggers Digs this morning. Shame it wasn't a bottle of wine. It's not a shame to me. My wife would have snatched that off me and consumed a lot, because as regular viewers know, don't do those things. I am a reformed drinker, and we are the worst. Let's have a look, see who else is coming up in the chat. I saw Peter Ferguson go through there at some point. I'm sure I did. Yeah, so sad to hear the loss of Terry Holt. There are some that come along that just kind of hit you out of left field, to be honest. As I say, I was lucky enough to see the specials. There was a guy called Mark Hollis, and people of a certain age might recall a band called Talk Talk, and Mark Hollis hadn't heard much from them for about 20 odd years, so in my mind he was probably in his 30s. He was actually in his 60s when he passed away a couple of years ago, and just a complete shock, the people that you idolised when you were younger. And I always think that about footballers. There are some footballers that the last time you saw them, they were wearing the shirt of your favourite team, and you kind of fix them in that period in time, and it's only when you realise they passed away and they were actually 60 or 70 years old, still very, very young. But no, Terry Hall is a real loss, and I wasn't being deliberately clever with my use of the fact that they were a multiracial band before anybody even started talking about multiracialism. It was a band from Coventry, the Specials, half white, half black, thereabouts, and just played some fantastic music. Still to this day, reggae and ska, if I'm feeling grumpy, that's my go-to. It just cheers me up no end, and the Specials are, they're a key part of my Apple playlist as well. Ken Hatcher's been having Facebook issues this morning. I think that is, unfortunately, Facebook. And soon to be Twitter too. Is that Bill Oddie driving the Liebherr? I don't believe it was. I'm fairly sure the Australian accent was genuine, but he did look a lot like him. Lionel Whitnell likes his dozer. Good on fuel, apparently. Yes, I'm sure it is. Always one of the highlights of the Bowner show, when you get to see some of those Liebherr dozers up close and personal. There is Peter Ferguson. I knew he was here somewhere. Morning, Peter. Thank you for being here indeed. Nick Drew didn't enter today's competition because he's received an MSC goodie box as well. So I'm out, he says, like one of the cast of Dragon's Den. This is all part of my minimalisation. I had a right clear out here yesterday. You have no idea. My desk is largely clutter-free right now. There is a cabinet over that way, which was stacked high with bits and pieces and bits and bobs. That's all gone as well. There were bags upon bags behind me. They've all gone. The hats are tidy again. going to keep these ones changing because those are the ones you can see. But yeah, it's much tidier in here. There is one more thing to do, which means I'm going to shuffle my desk. Excuse me. I'm going to shuffle my desk a bit, just to change the angle up a bit for the new year, just to make it look a bit more spick and span. But yeah, we're getting there. But again, go back to the MSD thing. Very kind of them to send it. I would normally use a desk calendar, but on this occasion, it's clutter that I can't be having. So I'm going to stick with Google Calendar for all its sins and limitations. But that's where I'm going to be. Ken Hatcher. Yeah, Ken was one of our very early adopters way back when. In fact, I don't know how many of you realise this. The Breakfast Show wasn't originally called The Breakfast Show. I think it was called something like Demolition News Live or something like that. And we really played around. I think we put together about 80 or 90 shows in the immediate aftermath of the COVID lockdown. And we played around. We did shows at 10 o'clock in the morning. We did shows at 6 o'clock at night, at 7 o'clock at night. We tried Thursdays. We tried Wednesdays. I think we tried Tuesdays a few times. And we ultimately found our sweet spot daily at 10 o'clock in the morning. And when I realised that the lockdown was going to be here to stay, we decided, well, let's come up with a proper show format, which we did for one show. For those of you that were here for the very first one, the very first episode of the Breakfast Show, went out, looked horrible, sounded horrible, so much so that it is no longer available online. I took it apart, took the whole show apart, and in 24 hours we redesigned it and redeveloped it from the ground up. So episode 2 is where our YouTube channel starts, I think. And just on that subject, I don't know what the hell's going on with our YouTube channel, but I said in that chat, or in that show rather, that we were likely to hit 25,000 subscribers over on YouTube before Christmas Day. It looks very, very likely we will actually get the 25,000 today. And that's added. I don't do maths, but if you think we started this year with 2,000 subscribers, and we've had just an absolutely vertical growth over on YouTube, and let's face it, this show is the primary part of our output, so this is a part of it. Lost the volume, yeah, my fault entirely. Nick Drew, not hearing you now, my fault entirely. Sound's gone, my fault entirely. Yeah, it is one of the foibles of this system. There are 2 ways to play a video on this system. Not that you need to know this. Excuse me. You play it one way and it shuts the the sound off of my microphone. You play it another way and it doesn't. For some reason, the one that doesn't today did. What are you going to do? John Fitzmaurice says, great look back, Mark. Well put together. We were planning to do more with it. I was planning to go out and about and get some demolition-y type backdrops and have me wandering through the woods looking all windswept and interesting. But it was pissing with rain and I thought, no, sod that, I'll stay at home and I'll do it right in front of the camera like I normally do. Peter Ferguson says, you're back. Thank you very much indeed. I am back. Yeah, well done, Gary, says John Fitzmaurice. Well done, G, says Ken Hatcher. Ken Hatcher is now back to work. Great message, Mark. I came to the show fairly recently, but I find the way it's set up absolutely brilliant. Interactive shows are definitely the way forward, so fair play, thank you, and keep up the good work. We have every intention of doing so, Jim, and good morning to you. I do feel like I need a breather. Listen, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a coal miner, I don't work particularly hard. I am sat on my rear end 5 and sometimes 6 days a week. I'm not claiming that I'm exhausted or stressed or any of those things, but I do feel like the year kind of needs to come to an end now, so that I can just take a long deep breath, go away, not actually turn the camera on for a fortnight, just sit down with a notepad or possibly an iPad and work out exactly where we're going to take this next. I remember saying last year, about this time last year, that we kind of learned on the hoof as far as this show is concerned. We've knocked off some of the rough edges. I think we've knocked off a few more this year, but we are now at a point, and I think that was indicated by the brands that we've worked with. When we first started to do this show, I spent 95% of my time explaining what it was we were trying to accomplish. Bear with me one second. But here we are, when March rolls around, it will be 3 years since we started this old stuff and nonsense, and we now get phone calls and emails and invitations basically saying, can you do this for us? I was on one just yesterday, and fingers crossed that one will come to fruition as well. Let's have a look. When are you started back with your New Year's shows? The plan, Peter, is to be back here on the 6th of January. As I just said, I have no idea what I will be able to bring you by then, because I know that the PR departments and the marketing departments of the major equipment manufacturers tend to go into something of a lockdown over Christmas. We're already scratching around a bit at the moment, because some people have started holidays early. Some people don't want their sexy new video to get lost in the Christmas rush, so they're sitting on their hands a bit at the moment, but we will do our level best. And frankly, even if on the 6th and the 7th, I think that's the 6th, 7 and 8, I think that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even if I just turn up and we have a bit of a natter amongst ourselves, a bit like our Saturday social shows, which will be back, by the way. If we do that, and then by the time the 9th rolls around, all things being equal, we should be back into the news stream as well. Just mentioned the Saturday social show. We are working, I've already mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again just in case anybody has a real objection to it. We are planning to draw up a more detailed schedule of stuff for the new year, and my plan is that the Saturday social show, which we've had to sort of put on the back burner recently purely because of personal commitments and family commitments and that kind of thing, but my plan is that the Saturday social will now be the first Saturday of every month. We just get together on a Saturday morning, 10 a.m. for a good old chinwag about whatever takes our fancy on that day. And then my plan is to do a Wednesday evening show on what I'm calling Middle Wednesday, and I realise 4 and 5 week months kind of throw out where the Middle Wednesday is, but I can keep you posted on that. So yeah, on a Wednesday evening we will be doing, I will be the host, but the plan is to have a guest along on a subject, be it a new product, a particular issue, whatever that might be, and we will put that in place as well. And what I'm planning to do is to have some kind of online calendar, so that if you find yourself at a loose end, you can literally just click a button and see what shows are coming up and decide if you want to take part or not. The one thing that we've never really pulled off so far is actually getting you guys on the show. I know we've had a few, just trying to remember. I know we had Al Grierson as a guest host on one show, and I can't remember, we've done another one as well, I think over on Instagram. So the plan in the new year is to get you guys a bit more involved and that you have your say directly, rather than trying to feverishly write away on a tiny device while you're actually doing something else. If you fancy it, but maybe the evenings and the Saturdays are an easier time to do it. We'll send you the link, you can press the button and you can be sat just there. Not literally, obviously, but you can be sat just there and we can have a proper chinwag. And that's one of the things I've got planned for today. I mentioned it yesterday, but I'm going to mention it again. Was speaking to a guy. He actually won one of our prizes back on our giveaway show. Got to talking to him afterwards, and his career path has taken. Let's describe it as an interesting turn. A tangent, I think, is what it's called. So I'm planning to speak to him at 2 o'clock this afternoon to find out more about that tangent, how it all came about. That one will be with you. Again, we'll probably do that for our patrons over at patreon.com/demolition news before the new year, assuming I can get it edited in time. But then everybody else will get that early in the new year as well. I think that's going to do us for today. Just 3 more of these, and then you can all go and try to forget what I look like. Good luck with that. Until tomorrow, people, really appreciate you being here. Particularly appreciate John Fitzmaurice for the very kind donation to the coffee fund. I'm off to have I'm going to go and blow my coffee fund on tea right now. I'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Hope to see you then with another prize up for grabs, which will be one of my books. And I promise not to sign it because that devalues it enormously. See you tomorrow. All the best.